It's the Telephone Hour, presenting Nelson Eddy and Walter Hampden. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Telephone Hour. We're marking a diamond jubilee tonight, for it was 75 years ago this month that the telephone became a reality. And since a 75th birthday happens only once, we've enlisted the fine singing voice of our baritone, Mr. Nelson Eddy, and the fine speaking voice of the Dean of the American Theater, Mr. Walter Hampden. With our two guests, of course, are Donald Voorhees and the Bell Telephone Orchestra. As a salute to the birthday of the telephone in 1876, Nelson Eddy now opens our program with Vincent Youmans' Great Day.
Shout, there's gonna be a great day. Angels in the sky promise that by and by there's gonna be a great day. Gabriel will warn you some early morn, you will hear his horn. It's not far away, hold up your hands and say, there's gonna be a great day. There's gonna be a great day. There's gonna be a great day. Gabriel will warn you some early morn, you will hear his horn. It's not far away, hold up your hands and say, there's gonna be a great day.
In 1898, the telephone had taken a firm hold on the American imagination and was already doing its part to speed the growth of the nation. In that same year, the American composer Edward MacDowell added to his numerous compositions a suite of sea pieces in which he sought to capture the changing moods of the mighty ocean. From this suite, Donald Voorhees has selected the haunting and lovely To the Sea.
On March 10th, 1876, 75 years ago, in the attic of the house at 109 Court Street, Boston, a little instrument of wood and wire and metal speaks. It speaks intelligible human words, and the name of the man in that room becomes immortal. Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone. And now, the vision of this man named Bell, narrated by Walter Hampton.
How does a man's dream begin? How does it grow? It begins as a child begins, in simple faith and trust. It wonders as a child wonders. It dares to ask questions of the universe. It expects answers. It finds answers in the tone of a plucked reed quivering along a slender wire, in the dance of the molecules across a metal disc, lifting a bridge of voices across the deep silence of time and space. This was the dream of a man named Bell. How does a man's dream grow? It grows as a nation grows, eternally leaping the horizons, calling others to follow, carrying the word over mountain and prairie from the leather lungs of the ox team driver, in the mellow horn of the river boatmen, in the furious hooves of the dispatch rider, in the roar of the iron rail. And as a nation grows, so does the need of its people. The need to be close to each other, the hunger for the sound of a voice across that reach of time and space. And the need is answered by the dream.
From Boston town to old New York, the telephone wires are strung. And westward to Chicago, the telephone lines are flung. Across the plains, the tall poles go to link the whole darn nation. Why, if this keeps up, we soon can talk to everybody in creation.
Listen. Listen to the hum of the wires in the wind across mountain and desert, valley and plain. Do you hear it? A nation is talking. A nation is growing. There, do you hear it? A voice from Minneapolis, and freight cars roll from Kansas. A voice from Washington, and ships are loaded at a western port. Speak from Detroit. In Pittsburgh, the furnaces roar, and the blinding metal races along the golden floor. How can you measure the vastness of this man's dream? What dimensions can you put upon it? The answer lies not in the words of tribute paid his memory, nor in the cold stone of monuments. His greatness echoes in every word you speak along the singing wires.
Hello, Mom. It's a boy, and they're both doing fine.
The train was late, but I'm okay, so don't you worry, Mother.
And ship 10 more tons. The Navy needs it by next Tuesday.
Hello, Doctor. Our baby's sick. Oh, please, won't you come right over?
Yep, this Army life ain't half bad, but I miss that good home cooking.
Hello, Jim. This is your mother. Dad left us just an hour ago. His last words were of you.
All the words of birth and death, of love and joy, of departing and arriving, of buying and selling, of asking and answering, all your words, all are the measure of this man's dream. Its depth and breadth measured by your great need of it. How high its value? Only this. Were not that dream fulfilled, time and space again would rush between us, and each would be so much alone. How does a man's dream begin? It begins as a child begins, in simple faith and wonder. How does a man's dream grow? It grows as a nation grows, eternally leaping the horizons, calling others to follow. And the others, caught up in his vision, the builders, the planners, the lineman against the sky, the girl at her switchboard, the scientist charting the tides of invisible sound, the splicer sealing the joints of the cable. All are the weavers of speech, serving the nation in peace and in war, carrying the word across the silence of time and of space. Along the gleaming wires, all the words of love and birth and life throughout all the land, to the farthest village and town, and beyond the dark seas and the endless horizons, beyond the earth's curve. This was the vision of a man named Bell, and we are the inheritors of his dream.
Well, the Yanks really did know how to gild the lily, and that was the Bell Telephone Hour Orchestra with Donald Voorhees at the baton, and a rather historic recording, and off an acetate. It's off a transcription record. It is an acetate, actually, and microgroove acetate, and it's rather special, to be honest. I don't have many of these, and this of the NBC Bell Telephone Hour performances, and we can probably hear the rest of it at the end. We can play the rest of the program, side 2 of 2. It says March 1951, and it's episode 3. What is it? That's episode 513, and this one's 531. I reckon they might have may have a mistake there. 531 and 513. Anyhow, we'll find out. We can play the other side in due course, but rather special. Donald Voorhees was a force of nature. He was a really active musician on the big American scene. He worked for the NBC for years, and he worked for their radio network and did all the Bell Telephone Hour programs. I think he did that for nearly 30 years. And he wrote music, and he was sort of omnipresent. If you look him up online, there's lots of material about Donald Voorhees, the conductor and the big industry man. He was a part of those mega networks that America had back in the day. In fact, we can actually listen to some early Donald Voorhees. He started off in his early 20s as a young fella playing piano with a dance band, and actually made some records for Columbia in 1926-27. And they're fun. I mean, he's an excellent musician. He was always a very switched-on individual, knew the musicians well, knew how to arrange well, and here he is with a really top-line tune. I love this tune. It's a tune that sort of resonates with me. I don't know why, but I like its melodic shape. So we'll hear Donald Voorhees back in 1927 with his own orchestra, and the name of the song, Clementine.
that baby from New Orleans. She's only 17, but what a queen, oh my. She has those flashing eyes, the kind that can hypnotize. And when she rolls them, pal, just kiss your gal goodbye. And oh, 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 when she starts dancing, she plays a mean castanet, you won't forget I mean. Down in that Creole town are wonderful gals around, but none like Clementine from New Orleans.
You guessed it, folks, that was Miff Mole playing the trombonium there with Donald Voorhees conducting his own dance band back in 1927.
Great stuff.
Oh, it is. Hello there, Frank.
How are you, Steve?
Yeah, okay. I'm sort of hanging in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have an easy week, but that's all right. I'm not going to whinge. I'm not going to complain. We're just moving forward, and I will come up tonight because I just haven't been there for a while, and I've got the energy to do something, and I've struck upon a really, really amazing recording. It's just, I listened to it on the way to work today, and it is just so special. And it's a violinist, Zeno Franiscati, great Franco-Belgian fiddle player. Oh. But he's playing the Saint-Saëns' third violin concerto, and it's some of the most ravishing fiddle playing I've ever heard. And it's from an off-air live broadcast in 1950. Yes. And it's just popped up into the public domain last night, an off-air recording. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It is it's utterly ravishing playing. So I do want to play it tonight. And also, I know that Clint he's emailed some requests for me a while back, and I've also got a list from Mr. Fleming as well. So look, we might just play a few of those things. Maybe just go for an hour or so, perhaps, and see where the tide takes us. Maybe that can work out tonight. So
I might wind early.
Yeah,
I've got a huge 2 days ahead of me.
Yes,
I spent all of today at my cousin's funeral in the aftermath.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. Yes, I remember you mentioned last week that he passed away.
He did.
Yeah.
Sandra.
It's Sandra, right.
Yeah, and we afterwards we met by pre-arrangement at a pub and had a long lunch and a general family get-together.
Yeah.
So it was all good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear. It's always just, it brings raw emotions to the fore, doesn't it?
Oh, look, it does. It does. And but really, she was in very bad health, and it was her time had come.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, tomorrow I've got to go to lunch, which is a very long. Again, a very long
that sounds
lunch.
Good. I think you mentioned Jamie was going to be there.
He will be.
Yay. Yeah. Oh, good. We'll say a warm hello.
He always asks after you, yes.
Oh, yeah, and from me and the listeners. And say that we've been thoroughly enjoying his wonderful potpourri of interesting records. In fact, we played one at the very start today, and it was just incredible. It was a Bell Telephone Hour recording.
Yeah, it was one of Jamie's, wasn't
it? Yeah, it was quite interesting. So, he's been so generous.
Just to finish off my weekend rundown. Saturday, and then Sunday I'm going to Bendigo.
Oh.
For the launch of this book that's been written, and we've written the chapter for it.
Yes, of course, the family history book.
That's the one, yes.
Right.
That's my great-grandfather.
My goodness me, I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, well, so I will send you our segment of it.
Yeah, please do, and then maybe we can talk about it. I'll have a read of it, and then we can sort of. I think we briefly spoke about it earlier, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more.
Oh, good. We'll arrange that in due course.
Oh, look, that's great. In fact,
Sunday's going to be huge because it's we've got to go. We're driving up.
Yes.
And the other thing is David's been coping with the aftermath of kidney stones.
Well, I was going to ask you about David because last week he was admitted to hospital. You said
he was indeed, and he's had surgery.
Yeah,
and he's got a stent in at the moment. Which
Does he?
Got to come out on the 16th.
I see. Is he still in hospital at the moment?
No. He only had about 2.5 days in.
Right.
At Epworth, but he's he's now back, and he's convalescing with us.
Yeah, understood. Well, please wish him all the very best.
Thank you. Yes, I will.
Yeah,
but I'm just giving you a sense that things are pretty. Pretty hectic around here.
It sounds like they are. It sounds like there's a lot going on, Frank.
Going on.
Yeah, totally understand. In fact, I won't be around for the rest of the weekend because we've got a concert tomorrow and then probably another concert on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, there's a lot happening here.
A lot happening everywhere.
Yeah, it's a busy time. So I'll just run the show this afternoon and then tonight. So we'll do the two. I'll just do the two and make tonight fairly short, but at least there'll be a bit of presence this weekend. But it's unlikely I'll be on. There's a small chance I can do something on Sunday for a bit, but I'm not sure. I'm obliged to go to a school concert, so I should go. Sure. So that's on Sunday, but tomorrow the choir is singing. The choir that my daughter's in are singing.
Lovely.
In Fitzroy. So yeah, that concert starts at 7, so I'll have to zip off well in advance. So that's the situation here as well.
All right, well, I'll come up. I've probably got about an hour in me, I think.
Okay, for this afternoon.
I need to try and get a good sleep.
Yeah, look, I totally understand. That's absolutely fine. Well, I will start at 11. That's the usual thing, and then we'll I'll just go for a short time. But if you're up for it, all good. If not, totally understand, Frank. It'll be mainly programmatic material. There won't be a lot of extra. I want to play the whole concerto, which goes for 23 minutes.
Yeah.
And that'll be the main part of it, I think.
What I might do is come on and say hello.
Yeah.
And then perhaps go to listening.
Yeah, look, totally understood. Absolutely fine. So, I've got a little list of requests and things. We might sort of let them percolate over the next little while because, it's a busy time for all concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just sampling some of the music of Don Voorhees, who was an American conductor, worked for NBC, had a very long tenure with the NBC Orchestra, nearly 30 years, and did lots of Bell Telephone Hour recordings. And but he started his career with dance bands in the 20s. As a very young man, only in his early 20s, he obviously showed great promise and formed his own band and got some very good session musicians involved, including Miff Mole, who we just heard.
Yeah.
So I might play the other side. This recording also features Irving Kaufman singing and, more of Don Voorhees Orchestra with, apparently, I haven't sampled this, but the track metadata tells me that we have an excellent Miff Mole solo on this. So we'll stand on by.
Your baby's blue, very true, baby's blue. Been this way a week or two, baby's blue. Baby puts the blame on you, very true, shame on you. Don't deny, for you know why baby's blue. Is it worth your while to see a smile in place of a tear? This you can arrange and change by saying, I love you, dear, I love you, dear. Surely that's not hard to do, nothing new, very true. There are no ifs or buts or maybes, baby's blue.
Yay, there we have Baby Blue, Don Voorhees Orchestra, featuring Miff Mole. I love that nuanced register shifting approach to trombone solos. It's very much a character of that era, because after Jack Teagarden came into the scene, trombone playing became a lot more lyrical.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? A lot more melody and
yes, definitely,
and
which is beautiful, sublime in its own way. It's just a different aesthetic. But we just, for a short period, we had a number of trombonists who just played this breathy register shifting sort of approach to solos, which I find strangely affecting. It's not mutually exclusive, but I just really fascinated by Miff Mole, and he changed his style. After hearing Jack Teagarden, he completely abandoned this way of playing.
Did he really?
Yeah, and played in a much more...
He played like Jack?
Yeah, he did. Everyone played like Jack after 1930s. So, yeah. So, in the very early days, you had this sort of quasi-academic sort of style, which we've been describing, this sort of register shifting stuff, and or the really raw tailgate Kidori style, which is more of the New Orleans tradition.
So that's what I'm familiar with. Really.
Yeah, that's the sort of, you hear a lot of that really raw sort of just not much happening, but
very
it's just
much in keeping with that time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and on the sort of, once Bix came on the scene, people like Red Nichols copied Bix, and others wanted to really sort of explore that chamber jazz, a much more intellectual approach. So we sort of had this sort of this interesting chamber jazz phenomenon in the late 20s, which is like what we just heard. So anyhow, there's been some very, very interesting uploads this week, and I'd like to share them because it's the only program really I'll have this week. So, notwithstanding tonight's classical music, but here is a lot of Hoagy Carmichael has popped up, including some unbelievable rarities which I never knew existed.
Yeah.
Now, one of them is a recording he featured with the Paul Whiteman Orchestra in 1927. Very early days.
Very early Hoagy.
Yeah. He's just a kid. He's in his I don't know. He's probably about 24, 25.
Tops, I'd reckon, yeah.
And this is a very early recording featuring Bix. It's a test pressing. It's never been released. Now, I've heard the official version of this. I knew it well, but this is a little different. And this one's just coming to the fore. It's a vinyl pressing from the master that survived. So a collector has had access to the metal parts and made this vinyl pressing. So it's very, very good fidelity.
Yeah.
And it features Hoagy at the piano and singing his own composition. And the the hot players from the Whiteman Band at the time, including Bix, there's a fast jazz sort of, it only goes for about 30 seconds, but it's in the middle of the song, and you'll just listen for Bix's playing. It's tremendous. And along with the other members of the group, it's really hot playing. It's amazing, actually. And it's an unusual performance. It's blues. It's blues imagined by a young Hoagie Carmichael who was very in touch with the trends of the time. It's all sort of reimagined with his vision. So it's called Washboard Blues. Hoagie Carmichael with Paul Whiteman and his orchestra, 1927.
Cloudy skies and rain, my poor back am broke with pain. My man sleepin', I's a scrubbin', chillin', weepin', I's a rubbin', pains a creepin', clothes a tubbin', all day long. Up to that washin' soap and down to that water once more. Head down low, head low. Up to that washin' soap and down to that water once more. Oh, hands go, oh Lordy, so weary of washin' days dreary, so weary of slushin' them clothes. Up to that washin' soap and down to that water once more. Washboard blues never get me gone from here. Scrub them dirty clothes all year. Clothes, them raggedy clothes, them mussety clothes, them grimy clothes, that's all I know. Up and down, back and forth, all year long. Oh Lordy, won't you hear my song? Hear my song. Washing in a shanty on the shore, the river swinging on by the door. Hear that river lowly callin', I's a shiver, nights a fallin'. Hear that river lowly moanin', moanin' low. I'm going to that river, going down to that river someday. Hurry day, hurry day, hurry day, hurry. I'm going to that river, going down to that river someday. Throw myself, my poor self away, oh Lordy. Must I keep tubbing, must I keep grubbing, must I keep rubbing, must I keep scrubbing them old dirty clothes. But I'm going to that river, going down to that river someday. Hurry day, hurry day, hurry day, early.
There's a young Hoagie Carmichael there, and Washboard Blues recorded with the Whiteman Band in 1927. An unissued take. There's another take of that which is slightly different, but that one has shown up this week, and I'm very happy to share it because I just can't get enough of that style of music, and I particularly like Hoagie Carmichael's intimate style of performing. He's one of the very early people to adopt the microphone and that sort of quiet crooning approach while he accompanies himself at the piano, and he continued to work that way all the way along until the 50s and 60s. He had a very long, distinguished career. So we can play some more of Hoagie's music. There's been more. There's been all sorts of interesting things pop up. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. This is a transcription disc from 1932, and it features a medley of Hoagie's songs from that year, including Stardust and In the Still of the Night. And, it's got another version of Washboard Blues, okay. And then continues with Rockin' Chair, Lazy River, and Daybreak. Georgia on My Mind even gets a Guernsey. This goes for a little bit, but it's worth having a listen to. It's remarkable, and I just any opportunity to play the music of Hoagie Carmichael. I'm vk3sl.
still of the night, neath the moon's mystic light, while my arms held you tight, I sang that that were filled with romance, felt the thrill of the dance. Then I knew of my chance to win. In my heart's great delight, I found love in its height, in the still of the night with you.
Raggedy clothes, musty clothes, grimy clothes, that's all I know. Up and down, back and forth, all year long. Oh Lordy, won't you hear my song, hear my song. Up to the washing soap and down to that water once more. Up to the washing soap and down to that water once more. Keep rubbing, keep scrubbing, keep rubbing, keep rubbing them old dirty clothes. Up to the washing soap and down to that water once more. Washboard blues.
my heart it will remain, my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain.
Old rocking chair gets Judgment Day is here. Came to my rocking chair. meets lazy, lazy river in the noonday sun. Linger in the shade of a kind old tree. Throw away a troubled dream, a dream of me. Up a lazy river where the robin's song awakes a bright new morning, we can loaf along. Blue skies up above, everyone's in love. Up the lazy river, how happy we can be. Up the lazy river with me.
Pappy,
Came by my side.
came by your side.
Fetch me that gin tonic.
That old gin,
Gonna tan your
gonna tan my
hide.
hide.
I said I can't get from this cabin.
Can't get from this cabin.
I ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere.
Just sit me here grabbing
Grabbing
at the flies round this old rocking chair. My dear old Aunt Harriet,
your dear old Aunt Harriet.
way up in heaven she
How long in heaven she be?
fetch me that sweet chariot. For the end of all my troubles I say,
You've seen 'em, Daddy.
old rocking chair gets me,
You're way down, you're way down.
and judgment day is here,
It's fair, Daddy.
and I find myself chained to
Okay, we're back in business. And we've just been listening to the music of Hoagie Carmichael. I just had an emergency repair I had to make to a fan that wasn't working. We lost 70 centimetres for a short while, but we're back in business now. I think it's all...
To go and order the tea, so I had a little...
Yeah, sorry. So you got a rather large dose of Hoagie Carmichael.
Oh, you can't, there's nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, interesting recordings there from a transcription record made in 1932. It's very rare and it's rather special, and it's probably I don't think there would be any other takes on that.
The first one you played, Washport Blues, the first few bars of that sound exactly like another song called Lazy Bones.
Yes, it does a bit. Yes, very similar. I wonder which he wrote first.
I know.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Great to hear his voice.
Yeah, totally. It is. It's really good to hear him. And, as a young person in that first instance, and then he still would have been in his late 20s, I think, in the second example. So, early Hoagie. And
playing his own piano,
yeah, he always accompanied himself. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's all a bit special. Alrighty, well, we'll just move forward and find other material. I haven't really, because I was doing that emergency repair in the garage and listening, I didn't get a chance to sort of think ahead. But what we can do, and here's a bizarre record. It's an Edison Bell radio disc. Have to be from the late 20s. It's English. It's Harry Hudson's Melody Men, and it says Comedy Tango, Alfonso, my hot Spanish K night. My hot Spanish night, N-I-G-H-T, but with a K in brackets in front of it. So I reckon that might be a bit of a story there.
Yeah.
I'll find out what this is about. It'll be something very, very English, I expect. But we'll have to find out. So haven't sampled this one at all, but an original 78 from 1920 mumble, probably from the late 20s, I'd say. Let's have a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce myself. I am Ponzo, the bullfighter from sunny Spain. I fight the bull, the bull, the brother of the cow. I have the patent way of killing the bull. I take the very big feed of the Spanish onion, then I step into the arena, I wave the red shawl. The bull gets very much mad and fly at me. What do I do, huh? I open the mouth, breathe the very strong Spanish onion breath on him, and what happens, huh? The bull kick the bucket, and all the lovely senoritas cry, bravo, bravo. But I have the one special senorita, and though I love her when she kisses, you can't imagine what bliss this is. She got the kiss that never misses, for Fonzo the odd Spanish night. She sings with voice just like a trumpet, says you no like it, then you lump it. And so I slush her on the crumpet. I'm Fonzo, the odd Spanish night. She sings romantic song from Caballero, and I just listen to her like a hero, then go on the bureau. At night she sings in the opera, takes the top notes all out of gear, and gets the Spanish raspberry from Fonzo, the other Spanish night. I am the very clever man, huh? Not only do I fight the bull, but I make it a very good music. Listen, I play the tango on the accordion. You look at that? Oh.
Okay, that was a bit better than I thought it was. And yes, the Harry Hudson's Melody Men, and with Walter Miller, recorded in the late 20s. The other side is Hunting Tigers Out in Indian. I wonder what it's bizarre. It's crazy. All right. A little 8-inch 78 from the day. Well, speaking of comedy records, one thing I've noticed is in these boxes of acetates that I've landed on the doorstep over the last while, there's invariably one or two with just the words RW on it or nothing at all.
Ruth Wallace.
Yes. And I think a lot of people traded Ruth Wallace records without having a label on it to identify. And
I'm not surprised. My parents went to an evening and they were all Whispers. That's what Ruth Wallace record.
Whispers, I love it.
It was all sort of a bit, as a kid, I got the impression it was all a bit clandestine.
Well, it sort of is. I mean, they're pretty outrageous. Oh, look, this one here, it's just got, it's an acetate. Yeah. It's been dubbed off something at some other source, and it's just got RW1 and RW2.
Okay.
It's been well loved. Someone's found a lot of joy out of this disc, and I just have no idea what's what. So I'll do a needle drop, and I'll warn folks that this will probably be not necessarily family listening, but it should be interesting. So we'll hear some Ruth Wallace from the 1950s. I'll drop it on track number 3. We'll see what that is. We'll just find out.
This is vk3sl. Why you're lining it up?
Yes, indeed. In vk3sl, we are in business, I think. If I got the right one, no, we are now set.
Complaining he was working very hard and he needed a vacation right away. I could not go with him, someone had to work in the store, so I said, my dear, you go and I will stay. But I sent along my best friend to watch that he shouldn't get in Dutch, the young girls he shouldn't touch. Now my best friend ain't my best friend anymore, while I've been home working in the store. She's been taking care of Joe, just like she said she would. While doing me a favor, she's been doing herself some good. She says he's in every night by 9. My best friend ain't my best friend anymore. She's been too friendly with the man that whenever she wanted to borrow something on me, she could default. Dear people, there are some things you don't lend. They go hiking and canoeing while I'm home working in the store. She writes me within her sight. She knows every move he's making in the daytime and the night. I remember how I bragged to her, it's like the night we wed. If it's exactly like I said, he's making such a Latin. He only used to waltz rumble. He's shaking the shook, says it's fun. He must be making. I'm home working. A husband is a husband, but when they get together with her, I used to don't know. Maybe I've gotten rid of Joe. The last few weeks before he never would get. He kept on telling was a change. I thought not just something strange. He was tired of old faces. She showed him new familiar places. Working in the store, but believing of me, watching maybe even more. Gonna even up the he's been doing with I've been doing.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks. We didn't make it. We got an idea. Maybe it was for the good. That
there was just enough in there to suggest that we would like to have heard more.
Yes. I'm wondering what's going on. I reckon this record's been played. Maybe I'm playing it with the wrong stylus.
So we've got some...
Yeah,
sort of,
we've got some idea.
Yeah, but it seemed to jump at... was it regular points in the revolution, or?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the groove. I'm playing with. Oh, see the micro groove. See the needle is completely gummed up.
Okay.
I'll try it with a standard stylus. I'll put it. Try it with
you realise the audience is trembling on the brink here.
I know. I was feeling wondering what the punchline was.
No.
And we didn't get the punchline. But look, I'll try with the standard stylus.
What about a tease?
I know.
See what you can do.
Yes,
That's even worse. I'll try something else. I've got several different styli here for LPs. We'll try this one. This one here is also for those early wide groove acetates.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll give this a whirl. Try a different track with this. And I can put coins on if I need to, but here we go.
Wait.
More Ruth Wallace. And I'm hoping we have a result.
I fell in love with the soldier and the uniform that he wore. Yes, I fell in love with the soldier from the Spanish-American War. I married a man of 80 years. He's making our love life a career. My old soldier always tried. He isn't fading away. I said yes at his persuasion. I never thought he'd rise to the occasion. But my old soldier always tried until the break of day. He's got a lot of money. I thought he'd leave it all to me. But at the rate we're going, I won't live as long as he. When we wed, he looked so frail, but now it's all a brand new tale. My old soldier always tried. He isn't fading away. He's 80 years old, but he's still naughty. He's more trouble than 2 of 40. He says he must get exercise. He always wants to play. We took a cruise, just he and me. I never got to see the sea. I've often tried to analyze why he doesn't fade away. He used to use a wheelchair. He was so weak, you see. But now he swings from a chandelier, and the chair he's saving for me. And while I'm taking such a beating, I hear rumors he's also cheating. Oh, where does he get the strength? He'll never fade away. He reminds me of my old homestead. His rooftop is covered with snow. His whole frame squeaks and the plumbing leaks, but there's still a fire below. He used to have a million ills. Now I'm taking all of his old pills. My old soldier is a pride. He'll never fade away. He's got some old ammunition that he saved from years gone by. But he says it's in good condition because he kept his powder dry. He drives me bananas with his demand. Such monkey shines, I need monkey glands. My old soldier never closes his eyes. And it's me who is fading away.
Well, I never imagined that we have Ruth Wallace back in the day. Oh, she's got it, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's one more on this record. I won't lift the stylus. Let's see what this last track's like.
With his pole in his hand, he goes fishing on land. That way he says it's more fun. Freddie knows how the girls feel. When they see his rod, they all reel. This fabulous rod measures over a yard, and a thing like that you can't conceal. Under the moon, he hollers harpoon. That means Freddie is at the game. In some little nook, he is dropping his hook, playing the old fishing game. When Freddie goes fishing at night, he carries a great big flashlight. I know it sounds only toy. His dad said you can bend it and even extend it, but once it gets broken, you never can mend it. Then he had the awfulest fright. He had just put his rod out of sight when some dizzy dame who was searching for fame tried to carve her initials one night. He He'll always remember that day in September he almost ran into his fate. He met a big barracuda just up from Bermuda, and she wouldn't let go of his bait. He sure had a narrow escape. Took days to get back into shape. His rod was all bent and it had a big dent, but he soon patched it up with Scotch tape. On hot nights when he'd go to sleep, his pole out the window he'd keep. A strange bird came along singing the woodpecker's song and started to hammer away loud and strong. But Freddie slept on. What a man! He was dreaming of Dorothy and Fan. But when he awoke, he found out 'twas no joke. He still had his pole, but the poor thing was broken. Yes, broken in two. Now there's nothing he can do. So Freddie hangs down by the beach. He's still got a yen, but he's no man among men. He's still got his line, but his pole doesn't reach. Freddie the fisherman's son, his fishing is over and done. You'll find him with Grandpa down in the square, both of them crying their eyes out down there. They have one thing in common, shouldn't happen to you. Grandpa's pole doesn't reach to.
Sydney Torch and the orchestra there. Ooh La La was the name of the track, and some good innocent chapel fun there, preceded by something that was nowhere near as innocent, but came from the RW Vaults.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's not Ruth Wallace, but it's fascinating, isn't it, how these records, people must have had a clandestine sort of circulation. This is, I've got at least half a dozen records of hers on acetates without any label on them. So people...
Yeah, it's all very clandestine.
Yeah, it was. I think people must have sort of found their little bit of titillation. She did a tour of Australia. She came out here in the late 40s, I think, or early 50s.
Oh, this might have been what my parents were not involved in. I think there was a party happening, and I think she might have been out here, yes.
Yeah. I think she came out, and I've seen sort of official LPs, which are a little bit more sanitised than what we just heard.
Yeah.
That was pretty outrageous. Anyhow, interesting. But, it's fascinating to have the records which were sold under the counter.
Yeah.
Yay! So tonight we'll have a sample of some Saint-Saëns and some Chopin. Mr. Clint we watched the film The Pianist recently,
right?
And the Polanski film, and it's quite a harrowing story about concentration camps and musicians. God. I couldn't watch the film. I remember seeing the trailers. I just couldn't watch it. It's like Schindler's List. It's just too much.
Yeah.
He did see it, and he mentioned that there's a couple of beautiful Chopin items that he'd like to hear. So definitely we'll play that. Probably play it. If you're speaking to Clint on the callback tonight, I'll play the Saint-Saëns at the start, and then after about 20 minutes or so, we'll follow on with the two Polanski excerpts, the music of Chopin. There's a Polonaise, I think, and a Nocturne, the C-sharp minor Nocturne, which is just glorious. And, I might play a couple of other things as well. So, a few plans for later on tonight. So we'll just have a short... Yeah,
well, I'll let you know when he's finished his callback.
Yeah, so look, we'll just let him know that we'll play those tracks.
He sometimes has a particular station who calls him straight after the callback.
Yeah.
And they have been known to go on for a while.
Okay.
Well, I can monitor that frequency whilst I'm talking to you.
Yeah, look, that's it. And we're just whatever's comfortable. That's fine. I've just put a new fan on the other emitters here, but it's a very noisy fan, so I might have to do a bit of organising with that one. I might put a resistor in series or do something.
It's a bit strong.
It's good to have, but it's just a bit loud.
Yeah.
I can hear it sort of whining away there.
Yeah.
So we'll look into that. Now, one thing I was going to play, and it's been sitting on the cylinder player for a long time, is a cylinder record from the very early 1900s that features a guy called Frank Stanford, who is... he was with the Peerless Quartet. He was a bass. He was one of the Edison standard. He had a number of musicians who'd made lots of recordings for him in the early days. He sort of had his troupe and American artists, they're sort of Edison artists. I don't know if they did much else. They weren't necessarily the highest caliber. I don't think our next singer is probably of the Metropolitan Opera Brigade, but he was, he made records very early on. In fact, he started off making recordings on the banjo, and then they realised he had a bit of a voice, and he made quite a few recordings as a bass. But this is just a spirited song. It happens to be in the latest batch, and I do enjoy playing cylinders on here. It's something sort of quite special, playing an original cylinder on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go. Back to the day. I'll do a needle drop. It's on the same mixer as you're on, so it should just come up straight away, I think. It's very, very hard to cue this because of the... there we go. I'll put a little bit of reverb on because it's... what I've done is I've stuck a microphone, a tiny little lapel mic, down the chute, down the... just the butt of the horn. I've taken the horn off, and there's the little sort of collar where the horn meets the reproducer, and in that little collar I've padded it out and used cotton and various things to dampen things somewhat, and put a little lapel mic down, then tried to re-equalize it, and it sort of works. It's good enough for what we do, and so here we go, using an original 1906 Edison or 105 Edison standard cylinder player, and a cylinder from about the same time, featuring Frank Stanford on the bass.
The Mountain King, sung by Frank C. Stanley, Edison Records. I'm the Mountain King. I'm the Mountain King. I gaze o'er the desert, the valleys and sea, and note the approach of the storm. I hear the winds roar as they sweep the land o'er, and watch the black clouds as they form. I peer as they gather in battle array, and deafening echoes I ring to the thunder's loud cry and the lightning's bright flash. For I am the mountain king, for I am ruler of terrible might. The storm is a song that I sing. My crown is a cloud, in my strength I am proud, for I am the mountain king. For I am a ruler of terrible might. The storm is a song that I sing. My crown is a cloud, in my strength I am proud, for I am the mountain king.
There we go, Frank Stanley there from back in the day. We'll take that one off. And that's a recording. It's about 120 years old and more. About 1904, 5, thereabouts, early days.
Really?
But yeah, it's just interesting to hear some Edwardian kitsch. That's all it is. But that's the way they did things back in the day. It's an Edison cylinder. So every so often we'll throw one of those into the mix. And yeah, so what else? I haven't really thought much ahead about programmatics. I've just got piles of records. I'll do a lucky dip over here in this. Here we go. Here's the pile of okay, it's Pathé. It's probably Chinese, probably Cantonese, and it's old. That's all I can tell you. So we'll find out what this is all about. It'll tell us a story of some kind, and it'll be something interesting. Interesting. It sounded quite Western to me, that record. Yeah, intriguing. I have no idea. I can't give you any of the metadata because it's undecipherable. Mind you...
Pentatonic.
Yes. Yeah, interesting. A couple of these Chinese records and Oriental discs, I put them. I took a photo using the device, the tablet, and then use one of the translators, and it actually can translate off a photograph and tell you what the title is, which is pretty remarkable, really.
Yes.
Especially when some of the script is an old version of the script. But anyhow, that's all I can tell you about that. I played side A. There's the side A and side B. So you got the side A version. And it's in its original cover, interestingly. But it just says the only English words on the whole thing are Pathé record. And lots of pictures of musicians from, here we go, Electrical and Musical Industries China in Shanghai. So there we go. It'd be from the 1930s. But quite fascinating. I did hear a band in 1980, Mumble, when I was in China at the Peace Hotel in Shanghai, and the same band had apparently been there since 1937, which is a bit remarkable. So sometimes, yeah, these musicians keep going. Yeah, all right. Well, what next? I think, well, I know that Mr. Fleming is listening in, and he's testing out some new speakers. He's recently had to sort of downsize and move from the factory where he had a very he had outstanding car repair business for a very long period for vintage cars and older vehicles, and I've got to be careful using the word vintage because vintage has certain associations, just older vehicles, and John's got remarkable specialist skills in mechanics.
Yeah.
But recently he's had to, because the factory's been sold on, he's had to fold up operations for the time being.
Right.
And so he set up his sound system from the factory, which is a beautiful pair of Spendor speakers. Yeah. He set them up at home, and he said he was going to listen and for some tings and hear what the frequency response was going to be like. So I've been mainly playing recordings with very limited frequency response, but I've just queued up Ken's latest CD. So I was thinking, this is the CD we played a little of last week when he came on. It's called Frangipani, and it features guitar and various other musicians. Ken Murray, who wrote the theme song Lucky Strike, which we use on Friday nights. But I can jump ahead to track 7 if I just get myself organised here. And it's the title track for the CD. It's called Frangipani, and we'll have a listen to some of Ken's music, and John may have a report on how it sounds on his Phi setup. we have the music of Ken Murray, and I just realised that sometime earlier Ken had John had written to me saying that he had been conducting tests with the suspended monitor, and he feels that it may need some further amplification perhaps, or a different approach. Yeah, which is sort of understandable because he's using the speaker output of his Sony receiver. But sometimes these things can be difficult to find a happy synergy. But certainly worth persevering with. And I've got an AM3 here. Maybe we can modify that. But anyhow, it's all good fun. Yes, good for, this is the nature of the beast. Of course, we are testing. And I'm quite happy to hear some more of Ken's music, to be honest. I will play another track or two, and you're with us there, Frank. It sounds like you're probably quite busy. You've got your dins and various things happening. And so we'll continue with this next track and then see if you are around. I'm vk3sl, and we are testing, as we do. Listen to the music of Ken Murray from his latest CD, Frangipani, which came out, was it last year? I think it was. And it's great to hear. We had Ken briefly come on the program, actually, and talk about his theme piece, Lucky Strike. So that was all a bit of a treat. Just trying to find that CD cover. It's gone missing. It's around here somewhere. We can stand by for another track, I think. Yes, before we wind up operations. What is the time? It's getting closer to 7. So we'll play this and then we might finish with the transcription recording which we started. Maybe I'll cue that up while we're listening to more of Ken. I'm vk3sl. Beautiful violin playing by Paloma Bika and featured on Ken's CD Frangipani. Ken Murray on the guitar, a live bird production from I think 2001. Yes, he wrote this music during lockdown, or some of it at least, and that was a track called Free Range. I'm vk3sl. We're testing. We're finishing actually quite soon. I think I'll finish where I started and play the other side. I'm presuming it's the other side. I'm taking a bit of a wild guess here. It's a North Acoustic instantaneous NBC transcription record. Proudly, says on the label, the radio recording division of the National Broadcasting Company, RCA Building, Radio City, New York. It's a huge label on the 12-inch record. It is microgroove, and yeah, quite an interesting. I've got a couple of these courtesy of Jamie. I'm really quite thrilled to have them because they are really unusual records. You just don't see them in Australia, and they come from radio archives. And yeah, we heard the story of the telephone. I'm presuming there's more about the story of the telephone. We'll have a listen and find out. I'm a bit confused because one side says CT 513 and the other side says CT 531. So I'm presuming there may be a typo. Perhaps that's the case, perhaps not. So, but we will finish with it nevertheless. And I just remind listeners that tonight we will be on board for a program. I'm very keen to share with you a recording of Francis Scatti, one of the great Franco-Belgian fiddle players, sort of the last of his generation, really. He lived into the 1970s, but well, actually into the 80s even, but he was playing until the 60s. And a recording from 1950 when he was in top form, and it's some of the most ravishing fiddle playing I've heard. I think it's just absolutely sublime. I'd love to share it. It's only since this morning came into the public domain, and it from a very interesting archive which is slowly disseminating off-air recordings featuring the New York Phil and from an American collection. It's just so exciting. So, love to share that and a few other things as well. We'll hear some of Clint's music. He's asked for a few requests, as has Mr. Fleming as well. We might save John's for the following week. We'll see how we go. Yeah, we'll get it all happening. We'll work out our system. Hey there, Frank. You're still there with us? Yep. Not coming through.
Hello?
Oh, yes, there you are. I can hear you now. That's all good. Yeah, so I know that you're probably ready for your evening meal.
I actually had something. I had a very late lunch.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So I'm a bit sort of at sixes and sevens, but we're all good.
Yeah.
I've virtually eaten. So.
Okay. Oh, very good. That's great. Well, just I'm about to wind, and so what we'll do is. We'll just stand on by for later on tonight. We'll hear some Saint-Saëns and some Chopin.
Oh, yeah.
And, we look forward to a fairly... It won't be a long program, but we'll just do something just to keep the airwaves warm. It's been a few weeks, and I have been out of action a fair bit, and I'm just keen to do something. So that's on the cards. So we'll catch up with you, Frank, later on.
Indeed, Steve.
Okay, sure. So
vk3sl is QRT.
Yay. Okay, all right. Well, we look forward to your company later on, Frank. And I'll say cheers as well.
Cheers to the listener. And listen again later, please.
Please do. Please tune in. I have to say, Frank, I did sit down the other night and listen to some more of the Ferry Files.
Oh, yes, they're fascinating.
They are absolutely fascinating. Yeah. There's it's a really interesting story.
Thank you for sending me those links. It's very, very good to have.
Yeah. There's a lot in them, and it's a complex story of a very quite a impassioned individual.
Yes.
Yeah. So and quite and genuine eccentric in a way that he just sort of followed his own instincts very strongly.
Never met anyone else quite like him.
Yeah, really.
Or heard anyone, really.
Yeah, that's it. I've got to visit Drew some stage, and I really wanted to sort of get more of the picture of what his he credits him as being one of the most important formative influences.
I'll be seeing Drew at the Old Timers on the 19th of...
Okay, well, quiz him about Jack Wiseman.
I will.
School teacher Jack Wiseman, and I think I've sent Drew these files, and Dave has too. I think he's well aware of them.
Sure.
But that was decades later.
Yeah, of course.
And Drew knew him in the 50s, and so there's it's an interesting story. Yay! All right. Well, we'll finish where we started. More Bell Telephone Hour with Donald Voorhees. I don't know what's on this. I'm presuming it's the second part of the program we heard, but it may actually be something completely different.
Nelson Eddy on it.
We did hear Nelson Eddy at the start, and then some sort of rather sentimental program about the origins of the telephone, but in a way that only the Yanks can wax lyrical.
That's right.
Yeah, they did it with such a aplomb. But I don't know what's on the side, but I will play the record while it's out. Otherwise, it'll go back into the shelf and won't surface again for a few more years. So here we go. We've got the record on the table, needle drop, and I'll say cheerio until soon. I'm vk3sl.
vk3jr.
Flow gently, sweet Afton, among thy green braes. Flow gently, I'll sing thee a song in thy praise. My Mary's asleep by thy murmuring stream. Flow gently, sweet Afton, disturb not her dream. The dove whose soft echo resounds from the hill, the green-crested lapwing with noise loud and shrill. Ye wild whistling warblers, your music forbear. I charge you, disturb not the slumbering fair. By crystal stream Afton, how lovely it glides, and winds by the court where my Mary resides. There oft as mild evening weeps over the lea, thy sweet scented grove shade my Mary and me. Flow gently, sweet Afton, among thy green braes. Flow gently, sweet river, the theme of my lays. My Mary's asleep by thy murmuring stream. Flow gently, sweet Afton, disturb not her dream.
Midway in the 19th century, America was still pushing at its frontiers. With the telephone 26 years away, communication was by word of mouth, by letter, or by Morse's recently invented telegraph. But one man, a young composer, was talking to America in another way, through his music. The man was Stephen Foster, who in 1850 gave us a number of ballads. Among them, Nelson Eddy's next song, Angelina Baker.
Way down on the old plantation, that's where I was born. I used to beat the whole creation, hoeing in the corn. Oh, then I work and then I sing so happy all day till Angelina Baker came and stole my heart away. Angelina Baker, Angelina Baker's gone. She left me here to weep a tear and beat on the old jawbone. Angelina, I am so tall, she never sees the ground. She had to take a Wellham scope to look down on the town. Angelina likes the boys as far as she can see them. She used to run no mess around her, asking for the freedom. Angelina Baker, Angelina Baker's gone. She left me here to weep a tear and beat on the jawbone. Early in the morning of a lovely summer day, I asked for Angelina and they say she gone away. I don't know where to find her, 'cause I don't know where she's gone. She left me here to weep a tear and beat on the old jawbone. Angelina Baker, Angelina Baker's gone. She left me here to weep a tear and moan.
And Ferdy Grofé was so impressed by its beauty that he composed an orchestral suite especially in its honor. Tonight, Donald Voorhees has chosen to present the last part of the Grand Canyon Suite, and we now hear the Bell Telephone Orchestra in Cloudburst. Nelson Eddy, again accompanied by Donald Voorhees and the orchestra, brings our anniversary program to a close with a song that tells in its own way the love all Americans have for this great land of ours, the hills of home. Mr. Eddy.
My prairie home is beautiful, but oh, I miss the broken skyline that I know. I look in vain for rivers and for lakes, but over all my heart at sunset aches. For hills of home, the hills of the everlasting hills, how firm they stand. Their mighty summits brace a Titan band, uplifting hoary forests to the blast. When Indian summer's golden glow is past, oh, hills of home, the hills of I know them, love them, see them once again. Their cloudy summits veil in misty rain, or softly, dimly blue, or capped with snow. I'm homesick for you, mountains that I know. Oh, hills of home, the hills of
And all who took part in tonight's telephone hour, survey of the invention of the telephone. Next week, our soloist will be the noted metropolitan tenor U.C. Björling. On following Mondays, you will hear Clifford Curzon, Barbara Gibson, and Yasha Heifetz. Until next week, then, for music you like with U.C. Björling, Donald Voorhees, and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, this is the Bell System, dedicated to the service of the nation, sending sincere greetings.
Paul Lavelle conducts the Band of America next.
This is vk3sl. Thank you for listening, folks. We'll catch you next time, late tonight.